Our next speaker is Joachim Bomanson, and he comes to us from Scandinavios, where he's in the Research and Development Department. He's a development engineer. He's been involved with the marine segment for many years. He received his mechanical engineering degree at Chalmers, so one of Karen's proteges. And we look forward to your comments. Thank you.
If you want to pen or laser something, you can also click here and that's okay.
Thank you, and thank you for being invited. I think it's a great conference and we have a lot to learn from each other. So just to start a little bit, to know where we're going, we need to know where we have been. So we've been working with methanol for some years now. We are in advance, like that, yeah. And we've been working together with Karin and Per for many of these projects. And it all started for us with the F-Ship project, where we looked at energy efficiency for shipping in a general perspective. And one of those topics that was discussed was alternative fuels. LNG was an alternative, methanol was one alternative, and emerged during the project that methanol was the one that we looked at as the one with the greatest potential for us. And the project was also a little bit more focused against methanol in the end. And following that, there was Stena, as Per said, they have the opportunity to actually do stuff and they also want to be in the forefront of development. So they did the Stena Scanrail project, Spirit, which was called, which was the first installation of methanol on a ship, but that was a pilot installation with an auxiliary engine. And then, of course, they progressed with Stena Germanica, which is now running. And all of these projects have been a great experience for the class, for the flag state, and for the manufacturers, development, and designers, such as us. So looking at why the marine sector is very good for methanol. Of course, we had the SECA rules, emissions on sulfur, as we heard of before. But we also have large operators of the ships, so they have a little bit more muscles, and we have relatively few engine manufacturers that also can have the opportunity to do these kinds of developments. And also looking back to the history we had, there was a lot of development on LNG engines, and the methanol engines is in many aspects similar in technology as those. And we also have a relatively easy infrastructure, especially for ships in line service. We have defined ports and defined schedule, so we can build custom bunkering solutions in the beginning. And methanol, of course, is globally available everywhere, so those challenges aren't that hard. So now, as I see it, we are far from done for the big ships, but we are come a long way. We have the waterfront shipping tankers on the way. We have Stena Germanica. We have two-stroke engines from MAN, and we have four-stroke engines from Wärtsilä. Also, two of the major classification societies are involved that have published rules, and also the international rules are on the ways. But we are looking at the next target. Where should we go? Where can we go? And we are a ship design company, so we're naturally looking at ships. And we're looking at the inland waterways and coastal ferries, and use a lot smaller engines. Now we're talking about 250 to 1,000 kilowatts. And for the previous ships, we were for 5,000 to 20,000 kilowatts. So these engines are considerably smaller. And these are used as main engines for smaller vessels, also auxiliary engines for a little bit larger, but still quite small ships for inland waterways. And these engines are very similar to the one that you can find on land, in agricultural machinery, heavy-duty trucks, and forestry machinery, etc. Which also makes it very interesting for a step forward. And we are going to concentrate on the marine engines for main propulsion engines. And as we see it, ships offer a good opportunity to do these kinds of introduction. For one, the ship is quite independent of the engine. We can change the engine, we don't have to do that much to the ship. And we also have the space available on board to do installations. And as there is often multiple engines installed on a larger ship, we have the opportunity to have redundancy. We can exchange one engine for methanol and have the other one running diesel, so we're still safe. And as I said, there's no need for a network of fuel stations if we have defined ports. So we can do a special bunkering solution for that. So, but what we need to do is we need to advance the engine technology because we're still lagging behind a little bit. And we need to investigate different methanol combustion concepts. We heard Martin's concept for the future, but we are not looking that far ahead. We're trying to do something maybe like Wärtsilä has done, or maybe use a globe plug. In the history, there have been lots of methanol engines that should be suitable for heavy duty. And we also need recommendations on the design phase for these ships. These are not international ships, they're not governed by the international rules or the classification societies. But of course, we're going to need to use those rules as a reference for these smaller ships. But there are going to be quite some differences as well in the design, because we don't have the same resources and we don't have the same requirements of the smaller ships. And the main drivers why we're doing this is, of course, that we need to reduce the carbon dioxide footprint of the marine sector. And Sweden has a goal to have no net greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And if we're going to have any chance of even coming close to that, we need to do some drastic steps. And also the particulars have been a lot of attention during the past period, which methanol, of course, is excellent at. And we need to do our thing to limit global warming. So what we did was that we looked at where can we find these small engines, and where can we find big operators with big muscles that have the opportunity and also the responsibility to do something. And looking at Sweden, we identified road ferries as one good alternative. They are operated by the society, so they have a moral obligation as well as we to do something and to take the first step. And we also identified pilot boats. And these ships are, of course, quite different in size and in how they look, but they're using virtually the same engines. And the next step is also we identified fishing vessels. And there, of course, Iceland is in a good position with Vulcanol and have a lot of fishing vessels. So the project we recently started is called the Summit Project, where we're going to do a design of a retrofit of a road ferry. And we have a lot of partners. We have financing from Methanol Institute and the Swedish Administrime Association. And we have cooperation with Lund that's going to do engine research. And also VTT in Finland that's going to do engine research. Also cooperation with Scania, so they're both going to look at Scania engines. While we go to focus more on the design of the ship itself. What do we have to do in terms of fire safety on board and fire extinguishing systems? Because as methanol has quite different properties from diesel and the low flash point, we need to take account of that and have a design that is equally safe as diesel. Even better maybe, but from a safety standpoint. But the low target is to show that we are as safe. And this is, of course, to show that methanol is feasible. And if we're going to do this in reality, or if we're going to do a retrofit of this ship, we don't know yet. But we're going to do a design and to show that this is how we would do, and this could be done. This can be done. And to get a little bit more hands-on, we also have another project that hasn't really started yet, but we're in the starting blocks. And that's the Green Pilot project. We're going to convert a pilot boat to methanol. And the challenges are quite similar to the road ferry. In terms of regulations, we are still under national regulations, which doesn't really exist for low flashpoint fuels. But the systems installed are going to be a little bit different, as this vessel is considerably closer, smaller. And of course, they don't take any passengers. But it's still a working ship, so. And this, we're looking at doing more of a demonstration, actually. So we're trying to do an actual conversion of an engine a little bit. It might be a little bit crude, and the engine, people like Martin might not see it as much as finesse to it when we are doing it ourselves or with knowledge. And we also looked at China for importation of a methanol engine, because we found suitable engines available. Then we might not have the same technological leap for the engines we're looking at, but we're still going to learn a lot about the systems on board and how to handle methanol for these smaller vessels. And of course, also something to show to the public that here we are, and this can absolutely be done. But we still, of course, have something to do. We have the engines left, of course. That too will be sold, and we can do the safe design of these ships. But we still need green methanol, because that is really the selling point for methanol, especially for the society and for the road ferries and pilot boats. The only reason to do methanol is if you can reduce the carbon footprint drastically. So now we look a little bit on how much fuel we're going to need. And this is a very rough estimation. The road ferries in Sweden, there are 65 of them. They use about 11,000 tons of diesel fuel today. And that, taking account of the energy value, we need 24,000 ton annually only for them. So Vulcanol is a great start, but we need many more projects. And then I guess Stena want a portion of that green methanol as well, to Germanica. And the same goes for pilot boats and icebreakers, and of course the next step, the fishing vessels and all the road traffic, they're going to need a considerable amount of green methanol needed. And we are looking a little bit about doing some sort of demo project, of course with many cooperation with many others, doing some sort of demonstration of a small biomethanol plant using electrofuels, because this is really the way forward as I see it. And the vision we have is something like this, where we have solar power, we have wind power, we have some sort of power plant using biomass, for example. And if we can capture that carbon dioxide, use the electricity for electrolyzer, and produce green methanol that we can use for our road ferries, for the larger ferries, and also the same engines used in agriculture and machinery and for the road traffic. This, I think, is an important step forward, and this is what I see in front of me. So, thank you.